Welcome to VidZet, your home for careful consideration of our common concerns. I'm Dr. Ted Noel, coming to you from Riga, Latvia, where the people have vivid memories of real authoritarian rule by Nazi Germany and Communist Russia. It's also where the people love real freedom. In our last post, we discussed sugar and wheat subsidies from the standpoint of their massive expense, both in terms of direct healthcare costs and lost earnings. Today I want to focus on the chemical processes that make sugar the deadliest thing that you eat. Just to recap, type 2 diabetes is a purely dietary disease. This year it will cost over $250 billion in direct healthcare costs and lost earnings. By 2030, if nothing changes, half of all Americans will have type 2 diabetes. And this has got nothing whatever to do with genetics. It's completely avoidable. But our government continues to promote the exact diet that causes type 2 diabetes. That's almost certainly because there's money involved. Farm subsidies encourage the production of wheat, corn, rice, and potatoes. All of these foods cause blood sugar to rise rapidly, leading to high insulin levels. These prolonged high insulin levels are toxic. They fill the liver and pancreas with fat, making them unable to do the jobs God designed them to do. But sugar is uniquely deadly. Ordinary sugar is a 50-50 combination of glucose and fructose. Because fructose isn't measured in a blood glucose level, it gives the appearance of not affecting diabetes. After all, isn't diabetes a problem of glucose metabolism? Actually, it's only partly a problem of glucose metabolism. Other things can make it worse, and fructose is the absolute worst. The problem here is really quite simple. If you eat foods like wheat or potatoes, the enzymes in your stomach rapidly break the starch down into glucose, which is quickly absorbed into the bloodstream. Your liver stores it in a quick-release form called glycogen. But once you've stored about a day's supply of glycogen, the liver can't store anymore. Other tissues happily use glucose, muscles, and so on. The brain and the red blood cells actually require it. And under ordinary circumstances, other tissues use up about 80% of the glucose you take in. So the liver's only involved in about 20%. If you get too much, that extra bit gets converted to fat, and the liver joins the fat molecules together into low-density lipoprotein. Remember, that's that bad cholesterol you always hear about? That's actually a bunch of sugar converted to fat, joined together, and sent to be transported to other places for storage. That's right. Your LDL comes from sugar, not from fat. It's also stored in the liver and pancreas, eventually plugging them up and making them unable to do their jobs. The pancreatic fat causes worsening of type 2 diabetes. But what happens when you add sugar to your diet? Ice cream, candy, regular Coke. Did I mention your favorite vice? I used to joke that brownies were vitamins. When sugar is digested, the fructose half has exactly one place to go, the liver. It's the only organ that can metabolize it. No other tissues can use fructose. So when the liver changes fructose into glucose and glycogen, hey, no problem. Not. As long as we don't get too much fructose, we don't have a problem. Paracelsus noted in the 16th century that the dose makes the poison. In other words, you can eat some fructose in the occasional dessert or fruit, but if you get too much, you're in trouble. Before World War II, Americans had about 20 grams of fat in their daily diet, of fructose in their daily diet. This wasn't a big problem, although a bit lower might have been a little better. After the war, fructose intake went up. Now, with all of our high-carb diets, our fructose load goes right on up. It has lots of sugar in it. Add sugar-sweetened sodas, and many people get up to 5 times that amount. Houston, we have a problem. You see, there's a quirk in the liver's metabolism of fructose. Unlike glucose, where the liver stops at a day's supply of glycogen, converting fructose has no limits. And when the liver is full of glycogen, fructose converts it directly to fat that is stored in the liver. But the liver isn't designed to use fat. All that fat in the liver keeps it from doing its job properly. The liver is responsible for a host of chemical jobs. When the liver gets fatty, all of those are compromised. But of importance to us, we now see more and more sugar immediately turn into fat that now loads up the pancreas. And when it gets fatty, you're in deep doo-doo. With type 2 diabetes, you are resistant to insulin, but you're actually making more insulin than normal. That's right. You make more insulin than normal. That's because your body's response to insulin resistance is crank it up some more. Because your blood sugar's up, then your doctor gives you medicine to make your insulin work better. That shoves more fat into the cells and makes your insulin resistance worse. Let me say that a different way. Your medical treatment for type 2 diabetes makes you sicker and fatter. Ultimately, you've stored so much fat in your pancreas that it can't make insulin. So now you go on insulin shots. Your medical treatment puts you on the fast track to decline into heart attacks, strokes, and blindness. And you thought your doctor was trying to make you better. Getting back to fructose, it puts this process on steroids by focusing on the liver. If you are ingesting a high amount of fructose from high fructose corn syrup sweetener or sugary soft drinks, you are in the fast lane to medical prison. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Your wallet is about to be emptied into the pockets of drug companies and doctors. In short, even if you can't bring yourself to go on a high-fat, low-carb diet, at least give up added fructose in any form. That's sugar-sweetened drinks, desserts, sweetened cereals, and so on. Look at labels. If something includes high fructose corn syrup, throw it away. Unlike sugar, which is only 50% fructose, high fructose corn syrup is 55% fructose. It's deadly. Of course, the real solution is to go on a high-fat, low-carb diet with intermittent fasting. It will only take you a couple of days to realize how good it tastes and how well it fills you up. I know it's hard to give up bread, pasta, rice, and potatoes. If those are big problem foods for you, remember, I've done it and discovered that it's really quite easy. Those smaller belt sizes are cool too. And you will be able to get off meds within weeks, for real. In the meantime, we have to get our government out of the business of subsidizing the products that are killing us. Then we need to get the government out of the science business. Once again, they've proved that they are very good at getting things wrong. If you need help, go to www.idmprogram.com. Let me say that again. idmprogram.com. That's Dr. Jason Fung's website. He has long-distance support available. His books, The Obesity Code, The Diabetes Code, and The Complete Guide to Fasting, are wonderful resources. Remember, if you're overweight or have type 2 diabetes, you are in control. You can cure your disease just by changing the way you eat. God designed you for a high-fat, low-carb diet with intermittent fasting. If you eat the way He designed you, He will heal your diabetes and you will have a better life ahead. Please remember to support VidZ on Patreon, like VidZ on Facebook, and follow @VidZ on Twitter. Until next time, I'm Dr. Ted Noel.